Yeah, there's a bunch of different opens. It's pretty good. It is hard.
We'll check it out. This is always fun. It's fun grab. But we've been talking about the Detroit Lions and Antoine Randall, the wide receivers coach, talking about making an aggressive move. He'd like to see the Lions add 3 new receivers to the mix this offseason. 2 through the draft, 1 for free agency. We're asking people, how do you feel about that aggressive plan? Also, Ben Johnson, the Lions tight end coach, he's so far the one name that's come up as actually having gone through the interview process for the offensive coordinator job. Would you be okay with him promoting from within? Even if he's the offensive coordinator, it doesn't necessarily mean he call plays. And Campbell's giving no indication which that would be. He enjoys it. So that's interesting. Let's talk about that as well. And Ken, we were talking about this before the show. You asked me a question about the wide receivers, and if they're going to be this aggressive, really help out to getting a couple of receivers in the draft.
3 at least if you ask Antoine Randall up, right?
Well, 3 in the offseason, but 2 for the draft. How high are you willing to use a resource to get a wide receiver? Do you wait for one to come to you at 31 or 32? Or do you move up? And of course, the answer is it depends on who the player is. If there's somebody you really covet, and I really like Jameson Williams. Because of Jameson Williams' injury status, I imagine that he is no longer thought of as a top 15 pick. That he would be somewhere in the next 15 picks, or likely probably the next 10 picks. So I think the Lions would have to move up if you fall in love with Jameson Williams and you want to take him. As I'm looking at the first round and seeing the teams that are really picking, not only for the wide receiver pick, but if you really like a quarterback, if that's the other position that you could say really blows your way to the ball. The more I look at what's happening, and the more I think that you need to get to pick 17. Pick 17 is occupied by the Chargers. Maybe you want ahead of that. Philadelphia has a couple of first-round picks back-to-back there at 15 and 16. And that is because if I'm looking at the Chargers, they may lose Mike Williams in free agency. They definitely need to help out Justin Herbert with more offensive help. Whether lineman, running back, wide receiver, tight end, whatever. I imagine that they're considering it. Maybe you might have to get in the Chargers to make sure that you get your guy. And then 18 is New Orleans. And I think New Orleans is the team that is maybe likely to select a quarterback. If they like one in the first round, they can go there. But also a team that could use a wide receiver. So I think you have to get ahead of at least one of those teams. So if I were to fall in love with Jameson Williams, for instance, I think at the very least I have to jump up to 17. But I'm not sure I want to. Because I feel there's a strong wide receiver class, and that I think you can get a real quality wide receiver at 34 and wait for it there for the Lions' second round pick. I don't think George Pickens is going to go in the first round. And George Pickens is an awfully good receiver who missed a good portion of last year with an injury. Talking about an injured Jameson Williams, so why not talk about an injured George Pickens? Both big receivers. Pickens is bigger. Williams is faster. But I don't think I would move up. It may be really hard to move up for a wide receiver.
To move up for a guy you really got to like, right?
Yeah.
And for you, your opinion right now is you're not going to like anyone enough to move up. And
not for wide receiver.
No, that's fine. I respect your decision or your position on that. What I think, we've talked about this before. Every time, every year, the draft comes around, you have callers, you have texters that want to move back and accumulate more draft capital.
Yes.
And it never happens. And it doesn't matter who's the GM, who the head coach is, who the regime is. It just hasn't happened, right? They're actually more likely to move up and back into the first round than they are back. Now, let's just go based on Brad Holmes. He's only been here for one draft. The rumor was they loved Jamar Chase and were willing to move up to get Jamar Chase. Didn't happen. They stayed where they were. Loved who fell to them in Penei Sewell. Fine with that. I'm bringing this up because I think Lions fans need to understand that it is a possibility that the Lions move up from 31 to 32 to get the receiver or player they want. Now, if it's a receiver, and there's a handful of decent receivers out there, we think, right?
Really good.
But if they love Drake London and he falls, if they love Treylon Burks and he falls a little bit, if they love Jameson Williams and he's within reach, don't be surprised if them or another team goes up to get that guy, because they're going to have their draft board set and there's going to be tiers or whatever. And if this guy's in a tier 1 and you're close, these teams, they get impatient. They can move up and trade a next year late pick or this year late pick to get that guy. They'll do it. Now, maybe it's Malik Willis, but we're talking receivers right now. I would not be surprised. And also, if that deal doesn't get done, your scenario, Gator, of, hey, a Pickens falls or whoever, there's still a crop of guys, and you don't even have to take that guy at 31, 32. You can take him at
34.
Exactly. So that's the good thing about having that second high round pick. But yeah, it's clear though, the Lions need a receiver or 2 or 3.
You're right. I find it amazing that Antwaan Randall is talking about it, but he's throwing numbers out there, and that he's had conversations with people in the wide receiver room about this.